Uh-huh.
What's your favorite scary movie?
I don't know.
You have to have a favorite. What comes to mind?
You are listening to Scream with Ryan C. Showers, the podcast for Scream fans just like you. Join Ryan every week as he takes a deep dive into the horror film series that defined the 90s and redefined the genre. Scream with Ryan C. Showers is your source for scene and quote analysis, character dissections, and the latest news about upcoming installments of the Scary Movie franchise.
I hear you like horror movies, Kirby, but do you like them as much as him?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Scream with Ryan C. Showers. I'm your host, Ryan C. Showers. Thank you for joining me for today's episode. Before we get started with the show, I need to thank the producers of Scream with Ryan C. Showers, TJ Jones, who does all of the graphic design work for the episode title cards, and Ashley Summers, who helps me manage the show in various ways, including our Scream Game of the Week every Wednesday on Instagram, and the frequent Taylor Swift Song of the Day. If you haven't subscribed on Patreon, I'm Scream with RCS. This show is brought to you by Patreon support, and I greatly appreciate everyone who subscribes. If you would like to be a guest on the show, either in our monthly group Zoom episodes or smaller group or one-on-one discussions with me, head on over to Patreon and subscribe. The Patreon also includes social media communities, particular on Instagram. That is the hub of the Patreon and the podcast. In addition, you get the monthly audio commentary. So every month I record an audio commentary that is for subscribers only. Right now, we are going to be working through the 4 Scream films directed by Wes Craven. So please subscribe to the Patreon and check out the audio commentaries. One of the best things about the podcast are the spec scripts written by Joey Valisi, LA Times bestselling writer of It Came From the Closet, Queer Reflections on Horror. He wrote a first script in Scream 7, which was released way back in 2023. It's episode 112. It imagines the ending of the Carpenter sister storyline and also recenters the focus on Sydney. Then episode 155 is Screams, which is a Gale Weathers-centric script that also features Sydney and Kirby. We are coming to you with the final script written by Joey Valisi, the final Scream, which is going to premiere on this podcast on December 19th. It imagines what conclusion to this little trilogy of ours would be if we focused on Sydney's family, say Sydney and Mark Kincaid. In the real Scream 7, she is married to Mark Evans, but in our script, she is still married to Mark Kincaid. So everyone, please tune in. A Final Girl for the final time. It's the final Scream written by Joe Valisi, premiering December 19th on this podcast. The script will be available on Patreon for subscribers tier 2 and above. Lastly, I need to thank everyone who is subscribed at Patreon at the Daddy Ghostface or Stab Investor tier. My mama at Ghostface is Carrie Tenney, and my daddy Ghostface is R. Corey Wilson and Brett Janovich. My Stab investors include Kevin Abner, Ali, Roy Garza, Josh Carr, Amar Karim, P.W.O5, aka Philip Douglas, Gustavo Mora, Mark Vieira, Joey Nabrini, aka The Vault, David D, Scream Queens podcast, both Justine and Josh, Jess Mariano, Sam Levy, Tamika Jones, Josh Calamari, and Andrew Dominguez. Thank you guys so much. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Scream with Ryan C. Showers. I'm your host, Ryan C. Showers. Thank you for joining me for this week's episode. So this is a fun kind of like impromptu topic. I started doing recordings, and I was like, I can make this into an episode. I can Frankenstein a topic out of this. So we are going to be talking about the Scream 7 trailer, but with a twist, because this is a fun time in the holiday season. It's right before Christmas, and we had just gotten through Thanksgiving for us Americans, right? And we're definitely, I think, I don't mean to speak for everybody, but I'm definitely feeling the feels in terms of the holiday spirit. And there is an overlap with holidays and Scream, and some people don't get it, but the people who get it, we really get it, right? Because the original Scream film and Scream 2 came out around the holidays. Scream 3 was supposed to. It came out in February, so it's still kind of a holiday movie. It's still in that vibe. Some of us have a deeply imprinted Scream mark on our holiday spirit, for lack of a better phrase. So we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about the Scream 7 trailer and some other fun stuff. So here to join me to open up this episode for the first segment is Joey Nabrini, aka The Vault. Hey, Mr. Vault.
Hey, how are you?
I'm great. How about you?
Good.
Oh my goodness. So you haven't been here yet since we've had the Scream 7 trailer. Oh my gosh.
No, been a bit.
So I am dying to hear your thoughts. But before we get going, why don't you tell everybody who doesn't know what is the Scream Vault and how can they find it?
Well, the Scream Vault, it's my hobby, pretty much. You can find it on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. And it's basically like where I have a bunch of stuff that I have collected from the past, or I'm just working on and designing or resurfacing old photographs into higher quality.
So Joey does photographs, trailers, videos, but
Yeah.
like really like the claim to fame, or at least what I think of when I think of the vault, is the artwork that you do, taking stills from the original films or the current films, enhancing them, adding your own creative spin on the photographs, and taking screen caps and doing cool things. Like recently you just made posters, 3 posters, Scream 1, Scream 2, and Scream 3. So this is very off the cuff and very specific. So why don't you tell everybody about those posters? Because I love those posters and they've been floating around social media.
So, well, I just wanted to like kind of make the gray face Drew Barrymore a little bit more lifelike. And so I just kind of started with that. And then I was like, that's it. But then I was kind of antsy in October and was like, all right, I'm going to do Jada. And so I took her German shot for the German Scream 2 poster. I think it was German. And then I kind of made that more lifelike as well from that and her cast photos. And then I was going to do the third, and then, things happened. I had to go back east, and I just got taken out of the swing of things. And so the third one was kind of rushed and just done recently. So it doesn't actually go. I still want to make one that matches those
Mhm.
first two I made, but it kind of works because Scream 3 is kind of the same thing, but different breed.
I like them. So you have like, so what Joey did for Drew's poster for Scream 1 was like, he took like the image that we all know that's kind of black and white and made it color. So we see her blonde hair, we see the lipstick, we see her blue eyes. It's really, really cool. Jada's is beautiful. And I like the Scream 3 one. It's Nev, of course, because she's like the face, the eye in the number 3 on the poster. So I love them. I think that they're really, really sweet. And I think it's awesome and just a good showcase of your talents. And like,
Yeah.
so I was on Joey's profile a couple of days ago and I sent him a screenshot because like on Instagram, he has like the 3 posters as his like pinned posts. And I sent him, I circled it with like my finger and I said, this is sexy because it is. It's so cool. So as an original trilogy fan, we appreciate your service, Mr. Scream Vault. I love everything that you do. Like for Thanksgiving, speaking of the holidays, you posted a really cool shot from the trailer of Sidney Prescott's house and to kind of like give a sense of like Thanksgiving holiday. So I just want to know why did you choose that for your Thanksgiving post?
Because it's Sydney's house, and I
Yeah.
thought it was cool, and I liked it.
Mm.
Though I kinda added the blue tone to the house just to give it a, like, Casey Becker house shot feel.
I have to say, I'm really excited to see Sydney's house. I feel like it's going to be such an iconic location when we go back. Like for years to come, we're going to think back and think of Sydney's house as like the main location for Scream 7. I'm so excited to see what it's like on the inside. I'm so excited to see how Sydney maneuvers with it because we know there's already going to be at least one huge set piece there, right, with the wall and the panic room. So it's just exciting. It's exciting to see where Sydney Prescott has been living for the past, how many years since Scream 3?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and I was hoping, before the trailer, before anything was happening, I'm like, I need those Scream locations. I need farmland, just kind of open space. And it's not that as much. And I was slightly disappointed, but I'm like, I don't think Sydney would actually want to live like that either. But it looks great. So I'm excited too.
Well, I will say I get what you're saying about like the farmland, but at the same time, I do kind of think it fits with the Scream mold, at least the original 3 mold of like being like isolated. I mean, I know that she has neighbors, but it still feels kind of like, and we'll know more once we see the movie, but it doesn't feel like she's in a crowded city or a crowded suburb. It feels very like much its own estate area. I don't know. We have to see, but
Yeah.
so, well, let's just jump right in. What did you think of the trailer overall? Oh my gosh. I know it's been out for over, today's actually the 1 month anniversary because it came out on October 30th, 2025. And Joey and I are sitting down here on November 30th, 2025. So what has the last month done for you, Joe?
I loved it. I thought it was perfect. I'm almost worried about what else they could release. I like that, there's Mark Consuelos, Ethan Embry, although Anna Camp, we
Camp.
don't see them. And I like that. You know what I mean? I wish I could say, hey, I'm not going to watch I'm not going to watch any of the trailers for Scream 7 and just be surprised. But the fan in me and everything I've done for every release just won't allow me to do that. So I'm gonna be spoiled somewhat, but I hate going into a movie and kind of already knowing the gist of the scene. So
Yeah.
I'm like already expecting something. So I hope they keep it short and sweet for whatever else is to come, TV
Yeah.
spots or anything.
Well, so I have to ask, of Scream 5, Scream 6, and I Know What You Did Last Summer, those 3, which of those do you think was the most spoiler heavy in terms of, like, knowing the scene, like you said from the trailer, versus the least?
Hmm.
It's a good question, right?
Yeah, it is a good question. I would say, I mean, spoilery, I don't know, but I think I would say 5 and 6
Mhm.
of Scream. I don't but I don't know. To be honest, I don't know because nothing gave anything too much away, besides in the hindsight, 5, giving all our trio, it was all their scenes, you know what I mean? So I did expect more going into it, didn't realize that I had seen every scene basically that they were gonna be in though.
I think if I had to answer, I would say that Scream 5 was probably the most spoiler heavy, in terms of the plot, because we saw Dewey's death, or
Oh,
things that we
yeah.
can infer. We saw Amber on fire. We saw things like that. But then, like, I think that Scream 6, in terms of what you're saying about the scene, knowing and understanding the scenes, I feel like I saw almost all of the ladder scene, all of the bodega, all of
Right.
Gale's sequence. I feel like and kind of the shrine in a way. All of that's and the subway. We literally saw the entire subway scene as the teaser
Yeah.
trailer for Scream
Yeah.
6. So I would say, like, that's kind of most of what you're saying. And I feel like I would love for Scream 7 to avoid that. And I actually think, speaking to what you just said, it's not only Anna Camp, it's Mark Consuelos, it's Ethan Embry, it's basically all of the new teens. We haven't met them. And I love that. I love the mystery around that, because then once we start even just seeing flashes of the different characters, we start assigning them personalities and we start making them into suspects. And I think it's brilliant to just focus on Sydney and her daughter with just a sprinkle of Gale in there. What are your thoughts?
And, like, even seeing Mason and Jasmine, it's
Hmm.
like they had no talking scenes,
Yeah.
which I liked.
Hmm.
So it's like I really don't even know what's going on with them. However, if they start talking and all that, it fills in the bubble, and I don't want that at all, to be honest. I liked it simple and sweet, and it focuses on Sydney, her daughter, but there's going to be so much more.
Yeah. Well, and so yeah, I mean, fingers crossed. And like, so there is a rumor that that there's a new trailer on the horizon, and there definitely is. So apparently there are 3 trailers that have been like kind of made, and there's the second one is a full length trailer, kind of like we got with Scream 6. I would assume. I don't expect this until after the holidays. I expect this in January. For everyone who's thinking it's coming in December, girl, good luck. But it's not. So I hope that they do a really clever job of like balancing trying to get people interested, but not revealing so much, right? Especially about the plot. Like, I don't want to know knee deep about Stu and Scott Foley and David Arquette. I just want to see Sydney and Tatum and kind of like, and just the vibe. I think that's the best way to describe it.
Yeah, exactly. I hope the same thing, but I
Mhm.
highly doubt it. Those
So,
guys just pimp everything out.
well, I want to ask you about Sydney in particular, because I mean, the whole trailer is built around her. The whole focus of the movie is her. So naturally, but like, I feel like the way that the trailer was done here, it's different than even I would have expected. It is so Sydney focused, and I think that like, so actually, my friend Jess, she had a really amazing observation on a recent episode to me. She said that with Scream 6, maybe part of the reason why they left everybody alive, and they have this like almost like Marvel universe type thing where it's like so many people are just, there's just it's overstuffed. You have not one but 2 opening scene people. You have 6 people who are survivors and they all survive. You have 2 legacy characters and neither of them are completely fully utilized in Scream 6. You have 3 killers. It's just like you have 2 final girls. It's just like then you have this friendship group. There's just so many. It's so overstuffed. And I feel like going from that to just a trailer where it's just about Sydney and about Sydney's daughter, I think there is such a stark difference in clarity and in focus of the story, and presentation of the story. I am had that realization today, like just comparing Scream 6 and Scream 7 side by side, it's like polar opposites in a way.
Yeah, it's very tame
Mhm.
too.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can find the words, but it has like I don't know, like a tame feeling about it, like more mystery than so much chaos, like most trailers do. I don't think the movie is going to be like completely like that, but the trailer feels like that. It
Yeah.
doesn't
And
feel like a normal Scream trailer. I will say
Mhm.
that. But does at the same time. It doesn't feel like a normal Scream trailer, but it feels like pretty damn close back to the original trilogy roots, which
Yeah.
is what I want.
I think it's what most of us want, and I think that they achieved that. So I love that way that you said that. It doesn't feel like a Scream trailer, but it does, and I think that that's so apt because the last couple of trailers, Scream 4 is its own thing. I don't even but like even then, I mean, like you're right, there is an element of like they're showing us so much chaos in a way, especially 5 and especially 6. I mean, 6, the trailers for that are so action heavy and so cool. Look, here's the ladder, here's the bodega, here's the subway, here's Gail being chased, blah, 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 and this one is much more serene. Again, I just think that like, having this soul, like it's all, it's like, who is selling the movie? What is selling the movie? I feel like with Scream 6, they were unsure. The studio was unsure who is the main draw for the movie. And I feel like it couldn't be clearer who the main draw is or what they're pushing as the main draw. And for Scream 7, it's Nev Campbell. I mean, it's unmistakable that it's her. And it's unmistakable that it's her returning to the role of Sydney and what that could mean for Scream. So I don't know. It's just that's been on my mind all day.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I wanted from 5.
Yeah.
Like, even that trailer, like, that I made that For the Fans trailer with all the Scream 1 through 4 mixed in with it, and it led up
Yeah.
to Sydney,
Mhm.
because that's exactly what I wanted, and I think about that trailer all the time, and I'm like, "God damn it, I wish I just waited," and
Yeah.
somehow I try to think every day, "How can I incorporate that or do another one?" And it's like, there's been so much in between for and then 5 and 6 that it's like, I don't even know how to incorporate that, and then if you do, you know this fan verse is a little bipolar.
I forgot that you made that. I loved that. That was beautiful. I forgot about that. You should definitely try to find a way to re-edit that and reshape it for before Scream 7. Um, and that's kind of what's tricky. Not only just about your video, but just about the world overall, larger, right? Is like, um, Scream 1, 2, 3, and 4, we're building with Sydney. And then 5, we got a little bit of her, but is it the true her? Is it the honest her? And now we're going to Scream 7, where I do believe whatever we're getting in 7, whether it's good or bad, or people love it, people hate it, I think that is the truth of what Nev Campbell and what Kevin Williamson wanted to do with Sydney. I mean, literally, they had all of the opportunity, all of the power to do exactly precisely what they wanted with this character. So it's just it's interesting. How do you balance Sydney and Scream 5 coming in, at the last minute to be like the superhero with the woman we're about to meet? I don't know. I'm interested.
And I mean, I am grateful to 5 and 6, and I know a lot of people knock it, and I have my faults with it too, but I don't think we would be here
Yeah.
right now without 5 and 6. The hype would have we experienced the hype for 5, and that would have been the hype.
Yeah.
But this feels even more like an elation of like, "Yeah, hallelujah." Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and, like, I just wanna, like, point this out to everybody. I'm happy we have 5 and 6 too. I am. I like 5 a lot. I love 5, I would say. With 6, I mean, I don't love it, but at the same time, I still like it in some respects. It's a very complicated thing, but, I'm happy that we have it. I'm happy that we have another Scream film that isn't total garbage. Like, I don't I find faults with Scream 6 and specifically with Gale, but, I think it's a worthy film as a cinema movie, not just a Scream movie. So I think
Right.
that I'm glad that we have another chapter to rewatch and to think about and to talk about. Like you said, we're here. So
Yeah, it's like the Halloween movies, The Halloween movies have, 4, 5, and 6, and 5
Mhm.
and 6 are heavily a lot of people either love them or they don't, and so do we now.
Every October, I still watch those movies. So it's just part of the journey.
Right.
So I have to ask, what did you think of Isabel May and how they characterized Tatum? What did you think of their relationship? What did you think of like the performance of what we got to see of her? Do you think that she fits? Do you buy her as Sydney's daughter? We've only heard one line of her dialogue from her, but what are your first impressions?
Yeah, no, I love Isabel May in that Run, I'd Fight, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's the name of the movie. I loved her in that,
Mhm.
and so I knew she was going to be good. I wasn't sure about her blending
Mhm.
look-wise as Sydney's daughter, but I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. I don't feel like I got to see her much, you know what I mean? Like, we saw a lot of quick action shots towards the end,
Yeah.
which is fine. I wanna get to know her watching the movie rather than before.
Right. And I think that's the perfect way to say it. I have to ask, why were you worried about her blending? Is it the blonde hair?
Yeah, it's the blonde hair. And, when Nev was younger, she had kind of those freckles. They kinda, like, dissipated come Scream 2. But and I feel like Isabel didn't, so I just wasn't sure. I just
Yeah.
wasn't
Yeah.
sure.
Well, what was your favorite part of the trailer when it came to Sydney?
When it comes to Sydney, probably it's that scene. I think it just cuts really quick. She's on the phone and she's just looking completely distraught. If you freeze the frame, it's like, whoa, Nev looks different. Like,
Mhm.
but she's just crying and her face is squinched and and it's like, that's what I want to see. I want to see her in the most agonizing peril
Mhm.
she can be. Because that's when I think Nev shines.
Yeah.
It's when she does her little breath thing she does. It's almost like a hiccupy breath thing, and she touches her forehead. I want that. Yeah.
I know exactly the specific moment you're talking about, and I agree. Like whenever we see that play out in the actual movie, I don't think we're prepared for that scene. I don't think we're prepared for the emotional performance that she's going to give. And I think you're so right. Like, and this is why original trilogy people we understand each other, or people who like really understand like the culture of those first three films is like, and four. And Nev does her thing, like you just said in four, to certain respects. But like I understand everything that you just said about like wanting to see that power from Nev and that Sydney being put in those emotional situations. Like that is where the good Scream stuff comes alive. And I can't wait to see it again. I can't wait to see this version of Sydney again. The Sydney that's changing, the Sydney that's vulnerable. So wonderful,
Right.
wonderfully said, Joe.
We saw her as a badass in 5,
Mhm.
but you can be in peril and still be a badass because that was her in 1, 2, 3, and
Yeah.
4. You know what I mean? And that's what I want. I want the both.
Yeah. And you're right. And like I think that it's important to have her keep growing. And, in five, I don't really feel like she grows in five. And I like her in five. I really do. I like that she comes in and that we see her in this place in her life, but there isn't really a change in her from like A to B to C like there is in the other films. So I think that like how you do that is you put her in these really emotional situations. And I think that because she was kind of more muted in five because she was so strong in five and not so emotional, it's going to be twice as effective to see her like this now.
And another thing, I know I'm sorry if you're going there
No.
and I'm hopping to it, but I want to know if she only has one daughter because I hope they come up with something. Maybe the people got killed in Stu's house and she shipped some of the younger ones off to an in laws or something. But I hope they mention it only because it was mentioned twice
Yeah.
in 5 and 6 about Sydney and the girls. So it's like I need that consistency. I hope she just doesn't have one daughter. But if she does, she does.
I would bet $500 that they explain it. Like there's no way that Kevin Williamson would let that slide. I think here's the thing. Like maybe this is just me being blindly optimistic, but I genuinely every time I have a slight doubt about Scream 7, I don't think that Kevin Williamson, the guy that wrote so many of the things that you and me, that this community that we cherish so much, he defined so much of the 90s genre, right? I don't believe that given the opportunity, now that he has accumulated all this power, and all this experience, that he finally gets an opportunity to make and direct a Scream movie, that he isn't going to have it be the best version of it that it can be, and that he hasn't thought everything through. So I don't know. I just think that I think that he's going to go above and beyond to make sure that his movie is the best it could possibly be, and I think it shows in his writing credits. So, what are your thoughts on the fact that Kevin Williamson is officially, writing Scream 7? Oh my God, he wrote it. He wrote Scream
I
7.
love that. I
Yeah.
love it. And when I saw the credits change, I was just like so happy when he was added as a writer. So no, I'm excited to see what Kevin does with it. I think he deserves it. He's been treated like crap on these movies more than somebody should.
Yeah.
And to now see him be able to helm everything, I'm pretty excited. I just hope what we see is what he wanted. And there was none of his curse with the Scream movies, and there was no studio meddling.
Yeah.
That's all.
Well, so, I hope that Kevin, I think you're right. I think that I hope that Kevin sees this as like a reconciling with him and Scream, where he can feel like this is something he's proud of, something he wants to continue to be a part of, and that isn't just kind of taking the first draft of his Scream 2 and Scream 4 script and running with it and giving it to this person or that person. I hope that he feels respected and he feels like his vision is honored.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, were you surprised to see Kevin listed or to find out
Yeah,
this news?
I was. I was looking at the credit on one of the things, and I was like, "Hey, oh my god!" And I think I told you, and I think you had posted it already,
Yeah.
and you're like, "Oh yeah, I know." And then I went online, and I was like, "God damn it, Ryan! You didn't even tell me that." But yeah, no, I was surprised because I didn't expect it from that first script we got. It said written by Guy Busick and story by James and Guy. Never thought that would switch. I had a feeling, because if you watch some of his past interviews, like when he's talking, he he talks about how, you write a movie, but the director basically who helms and molds it and everything. And so I had a feeling he would change things or make it fit into more of the universe and more for him.
Yeah.
So it's exactly on par with what should happen.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that like all for the better, and I think that it's important for Kevin too. If this is like I said, like Kevin Williamson, the writer, if he's making a Scream movie, I think he wants it to sound like him. I don't think he wants the characters to talk like Guy Busick would talk. I think he would want them to talk like he would talk, and how he wrote 1 and 2. I think that there's just something such a almost territorial, not in a mean way, but just like I think if he's going to do this, he wants to do it right. Because this may never happen again. He may not want to do 8 or 9 or anything. So I mean, I hope that he took in every opportunity that was given to him.
Yeah.
So,
And I want to see people die. It sounds so bad, but I do. I want to see deaths in this one.
yeah.
I want them brutal, like the first one.
Mhm.
You know. But yeah, I hope Mindy. I love Jasmine, but I hope she goes,
Yeah.
and I think she's going to. But I really do hope, if not her, then Mason's character. Chad should go, but I don't want Chad to go.
Yeah.
Chad, I feel like has legs in this world. Mindy, she talks too much and she has it coming.
Well, I know, but I love the way that you phrase that he has legs in this universe. I agree. Like that's the perfect way to describe Chad and kind of like his position and why he shouldn't die. Like I don't want Chad to go. I think strategically it would be a mistake, and I think that Mindy strategically would be the better one to go. But I'm not really like I don't really care so much about the 4 survivors this time. I'm not. I'm just taking the soft prediction that none of them are going to go, just so I'm not disappointed. Just because of all the dynamics involved with the core 4 becoming the core 2. To Sydney and like whatever. I just think that like I'm going in just hoping that the new characters that we see a bunch of new characters die. Like it's just another thing that like you probably appreciate is like in Wes's films, so many people died. The 2, 3, and 4 all had over 10 deaths, and that's just, I miss that. I miss the feeling like, okay, almost everyone we meet is going to die. And that's just not something that we've had for a while. And I think that's part of what makes Scream Scream. So I hope that whoever dies, it's justified and feels like final.
Right. Agreed.
Well, what did you think of Gail's 2 seconds of screen time here?
He did have 2 seconds. I thought it was good. I like it, because I love when Courtney Cox talks like that. I just hope it's not too on the nose, like she went through a lot. Whether or not we thought she was treated the best in 6 or not,
Yeah.
she did go through it. You know what I mean? She's lost Dewey. She was attacked. She lost another boyfriend. I hope she's like, I don't know, traumatized a little bit and not just throwing out the punchlines. I want the depth of that Courtney Cox can put into Gale. And I feel like I haven't seen that in a long time. We saw it a little bit in 5, when Dewey dies, but then they're quickly moved on to the house and it doesn't feel like she's as traumatized. It does. I'm not knocking anything, but I want that up and down from her. I want Scream 2 Gale. I want the feisty bitch, and I want the the one who can nurture, but she fights that nurture. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it does make sense, and you're so right. Like she has gone through so much, and that's partly why I'm so frustrated with her in Scream 6 is because I feel like we didn't really get to capitalize on everything that she went through. I think that if they don't deal with Dewey's death and they don't deal with her attack, what are we even doing with her? If I love Scream 4 Gale, but I think that, like, to your point, I was thinking about as you were talking, like, when was the last time we really saw a deeply emotionally resonant Gale? Besides, responding to Dewey's death in 5, I would say 3. I'd say 2 and 3. I think that's the Gale that they should shoot for. I think that we need to see her reflect and we need to see her changed. Like, how did these things change her? How does she view herself now in another situation like this after the last two have really messed her up? I think that's so important, and I really hope that Kevin is able to achieve that here.
And even in Scream 1, she's dialed down and she's so smart. You know what I mean? She's smart in knowing that she doesn't feel like Sydney eyed the right person, as in Cotton Weary. The stick of Gale, I think, needs to be lessened.
I agree.
Damn that goddamn blazer or whatever they're called. I need those to go too. Like,
Yeah.
I want Scream 2 Gale all day, all night.
It's funny because, like, the whole pantsuit thing that started with Scream 5 and 6, I don't know. Like, I just feel like if you look at Gale in, like, the first 4 movies, like, she never, like, had a uniform in a way. Like, she
No.
always had, like, a different kind of every scene she had a different outfit going on, and I miss that. So we'll have to see, but,
I mean, everything's gonna be better than that yellow one in 3, but
well, yeah, right. So it's like mustard, right? So anything else you want to share about the trailer? What did you think of the Mocker House? What were your favorite moments?
I'm very excited for that house to get burnt to the
Yeah.
ground. I think that's gonna be really fun to watch. I hope it, it I hope there's a lot of chaos and turmoil within that. I hope, somebody just isn't lying on the ground and he lights the house on fire and walks out and then slash the title. I want some, like, maniacal craziness going on,
Mhm.
a good send off for that house. But I thought that looks really cool. And I thought, everyone, I have seen, I shouldn't say everyone, I have seen people knocking on it being a set again. But that doesn't bother me. It doesn't look bad at all. So
I agree. I don't think it looks bad. I think it looks fine. I think it looks better than 5. Obviously, it doesn't look as realistic as 1, but again, we haven't seen it yet. I want to see how it looks in the real movie. But I think that you're right, and, like, this has the potential to be one of the, like, enough up there with 1 and 2 in terms of openings, being just the concept and the meaning of it, and the idea of it being so epic, and the visuals. It's going to be really cool. I have a question. Do you think that we'll get a phone call in the opening?
in the opening, not a real one.
Okay.
I think there will be, but I think it's gonna be like a Psycho.
Anything else you want to share about the trailer, about Sydney, about Nev? The floor is yours.
No, I'm just really excited for the movie. I can't wait to see what else they come out with promotional wise, especially, poster,
Yeah.
character poster. I think it would be slamming cool if they did a throwback to the original trilogy and did, what do you call that? The headshots of the V or however you want to,
Yeah.
like, I would love that,
Mhm.
still keep it fresh how they've been doing, but not as Ghostface heavy.
So I have to ask. So if they do the 5 floating heads, so we have Sydney in the middle. I assume Gail will be next to her, just like, we had in the first 4. Who are the other 3 spots? Isabel May has to be one of them.
It would be Isabel. I think it would be Chad. And then I would think, I don't know.
Mark. So I feel like the most realistic
Oh, yeah,
options are
Gail.
Mark, Anna Camp, or Mindy. I just don't think you should have all the survivors plus Isabella. I think you would need, like, one extra new person.
Well, they could do seven people,
Yeah.
3 on each side. Who knows?
Well, I agree. And, like, speaking of marketing, Joey and I are 2 people out in the Scream universe who have our own Scream 7 character posters, which is fun. Joey made his own, and one of my friends, John Michael Barbone, made one for me. Very fun.
Well, speaking of, John actually did my face on that one. Because
That's right.
he did my face back in the day. I did the body and all that.
Well, Joe, so let's move over now to the holidays, because I mentioned this at the top of the recording that Scream means something very, like, special and unique to people like us, who kind of intertwine it with the holidays. Like, and I just want to, like, just speak for a moment. Like, this past weekend, it's just, like, so fun. Like, so Thanksgiving happened, then Black Friday starts. And my tradition with my family is I always go to my mom's house, help her decorate her house and, like, my childhood home during that time. And usually I do a Scream marathon there. And then, like, the following days I decorate Brent's house. So it's just, like, a weekend filled with, like, Christmas memories. And, like, I was just, like, whenever I was at my mom's house the other day, I was like experiencing it all, everything in the small town where I grew up. It's much like Pine Grove that Sydney lives in. It has that similar vibe. There was like this big Santa being constructed and built, like, he's like, 50 feet tall. It was just like, it was like being inside a Hallmark movie. And then when you have that kind of sentimental value attachment to the holidays, and then you throw in Scream, and when you're watching Scream 1, 2, and 3 for the first time, or rewatching them over the years around this time when you have Christmas lights up and that decorations, it just becomes a part of like the fabric of your holidays every year. So I just want to throw it over to you. What does Scream and the holidays really mean to you?
Well, so the first one, it came out around the holidays, but I think I was 12 or 11. I think I was 11. Yeah, I was 11. And I didn't see the first one until the summer of
Hmm.
'97, but I wanted to see the first one so bad. And it was like in January, in December, I had been begging. And then in January, um, I also wanted to see it. I had something, tragic happen. I lost my brother in January of '97. And I'm more tied to the holidays with Scream 2,
Hmm.
because it was coming out and it was around the holidays, and my friend Kelsey brought me the Scream director's cut VHS for Christmas, and then,
So I have to kind of piggyback on that. You said Scream 2. When I think about Scream in the holidays, and I think about all three of them, of course, but like image that comes to mind, like whenever I think of like, Christmas lights, I also think of Laurie Metcalf when she's over Sydney holding the knife like at her at the very end, right before Cotton comes in. I don't know why. It's like there must have been some moment whenever I was in elementary school watching these movies for the first time where that image of Mrs. Loomis and like my Christmas tree and my Christmas lights were beside each other. It's just like that's what I think of is Scream 2, Mrs. Loomis. But no, I love watching Scream around this time of year. And I said to my sister the other day, because we're both sad that Wicked is gone, and over. And I said, well, just like we watch Scream, around Christmas time, we will always watch Wicked 1 and 2, in November, just because it's a tradition. So I think that like it's important to have these things, along your way, and to have these memories that are tied to your family and to the seasons. And again, this is the time of year that most of us saw Scream, that the most of the world saw Scream 1 and 2, and three's along for the ride, and however else you want to make your Christmas experience. But there's nothing like watching Scream for me whenever it's snowing outside and it's Christmas time, and like I have my lights up in my house, and there's just a different vibe. I don't know. So
yeah, no. And I mean, for 2, it was that whole release. I was so excited. I was going to see it on opening night. My mother had to ask the usher, like, "Oh, am I supposed to go in with them?" And I'm like, "Shut up. What are you doing?" So, of course, we couldn't see it. And I had to go see
uh
for Richer or Poorer. And I was pissed. I was
mm,
so mad. But I did end up getting to see it. But yeah, no, and even during 3, I have attachment with the holidays because I was as obsessed as am now. And, we were always on the forums back then, and it was all around this time. It was supposed to release, I think it was the 9th. I could be wrong. The 19th or the 9th, it was supposed to release, but then it got pushed back. And I think it actually got pushed back to January and then February, if I remember correctly. But yeah, no, and even 5, right around this time. 5, I remember getting home from Thanksgiving, and it was right the day of Thanksgiving. It was something like that. And that's when the first promo of the 3 girls was Nev, Alyssa, and Jenna Ortega were just yelling in different environments. Jenna Ortega was in Stu's house. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
I do.
Oh, yeah, she was. Yeah, I think she was in the kitchen, right? Or something like that. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
no, at the door. I forget. But yeah, I just remember that, like, the hype just really ramped up then. And yeah, I don't know. I bet.
No, I think that you're right though about Scream 5. And like I watch Scream 5 every January. That's like my Scream 5 time when I rewatch it, just because that's when we first saw it. But like it is intertwined with the holidays, because that's when Scream was really becoming a part of the pop culture again. That's whenever, like, we talk about Paramount kind of revitalizing the brand of Scream and how they kind of brought it back from the dead in a lot of in a sense. And that's when it happened. I remember they did like the 12 days of Christmas. They had like a different promotion each day. There was so much fun marketing around this time. This is when I met Marianne Madalena and I interviewed her. So I mean, there's just a lot of memories that are tied up in the snow and my Christmas decorations around the time of Scream 1, 2, and 3, Scream 5, and now Scream 7. So.
And it's crazy. I'm gonna be 41, and I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe I'm still doing this. But I'm lucky.
Yeah.
We're all lucky to like still be rooting for these movies and still have them.
Yeah, I agree. And I hope that we get a complete Sydney story, whether that's, with 7, 7 and 8, 7, 8, 9. I really hope that like we get to fulfill whatever this long road has been. Also because it's fun. Like I just, like you said, we are so lucky to be doing this. I'm so lucky to have a show where I can talk to people like you. I met you, so many years ago and like we're still friends. And like, I'm so grateful to Scream. I'm so grateful for it. So.
Now, I have a question for you.
Sure.
Do you think, I go back and I think about 4 a lot and Kevin's original idea, and he definitely wanted to keep it open after 4. Do you think that we are going to, all the killers will be revealed in this movie?
Okay. No.
Me neither.
Yeah. So that's a fun note to end on because I think people want something different. I think it's going to be done in a way where it's vague. I think that like if 8, 9 happen, they will happen and they will unfold to reveal something that we don't see here. But I don't think that 7 is going to feel incomplete as like
No.
a cliffhanger. If that makes
Right.
sense.
Yeah, no, I think we're gonna get the whole killer showdown and everything, but I think it's gonna be left. We're gonna be left knowing that somebody is still out there.
Yeah.
Or something. I don't know.
And
That's
that's beautiful,
that might just be me like never wanting this to end, but who knows?
Well, there's the Taylor Swift song Cornelia Street. It's one of my favorite songs, and it's a song about like her having anxiety about her relationship, and like not wanting this moment that she feels to end. And so the chorus goes, "I hope I never lose you. I hope it never ends." And that's how I feel about Scream. Like I want to hug this moment forever, just like I want to hug Scream in the holidays forever. So.
Yeah.
Well, Joe, thank you so much for sharing everything, your perspective, your stories about the vaults, your stories about the holidays. Please tell everybody where they can find you and all of your work.
You can find me at Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. It's The Scream Vault. Feel free to check it out.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you for joining me. It's not just Scream with Ryan C. Showers. It is Scream Queens with Ryan C. Showers. Everybody, please welcome my favorite people from the Scream Queens podcast, Justine and Josh. So usually I say Josh and Justine. I'm flipping the switch tonight. So everyone, please welcome Justine. Hey, Justine.
I immediately took note of that. Hello. I was like, my heart just like jolted. Electricity just went through me.
I
That
need
was
to
so
switch it up
sweet.
more. You know what? I've made an executive decision. We're switching it from Josh and Justine to Justine and Josh. So
Yay,
We're no
ladies
longer a
in charge.
patriarchal society.
Yay. Okay. I mean, I accept and I'm doing well. How are you?
good. It's nice to see you, and I'm happy to have you back on the show for a very eventful moment in Scream history here.
Hush is, as I often say on this show, iconic, and we are in our Sidney Prescott era.
We are absolutely at our motherfucking Sidney Prescott era. Fuck yeah.
Yes.
Love it. Oh my gosh. Well, everybody, please welcome the other Scream Queen, Josh. Hey, Josh.
Hello, I'm always happy to be second fiddle to my bestie, Justine. I will say Josh and Justine just kind of flows better. So I get why you usually start with my name. It has nothing to do with your appreciation of either one of us.
Yes, exactly.
It just alphabetically, Josh goes before Justine. So
Yes,
The
yes, so right.
It's the syllable, because like Josh, one word. I'm sorry, one syllable. Justine, multiple. So I guess that's why I mentally did it. But like, and I guess
maybe you
it
could be
stuck, you know?
Justine and Joshua.
Perfect. Love it. Justine and Joshua. So, and I have so many Joshes, like even within the Patreon, like, and like within like the circle of like the podcast, there are at least 5 Joshes. So, you're getting the distinction of Joshua. So,
Yeah, it was a very popular 80s name. I grew up every year having multiple Joshes or Joshuas in my classes, and it was like Josh, Matthew, Chris. Those were like the most popular names
yeah.
in the 80s for boys.
Well, I love it. So, well, guys, please tell everybody where they can find you and your road trip podcast.
Well, you can find us anywhere you listen to podcasts under Scream Queens Horror Road Trip Podcast. We're on all the social medias. You can pretty much find us. Just search Scream Queens Podcast. Twitter or X or whatever it's called nowadays is podcast_Queens. And yeah, we're there.
We also have a YouTube channel where we do movie reactions, not just horror related, everything associated with our blind spots. And we also have a Patreon where you can watch our road trips as we're recording. So that's really fun. And we're always welcoming new members.
Yes, I am a member. Well, so as Justine alluded to, you guys are besties, in addition to being just podcast co-hosts, right? So like for instance, I guess like, some of my, let's just say a Mark Karim, we're not besties like you guys. I'm just teasing we are. But you guys are besties and you guys shared something very fun with me as it relates to Wes Craven and you guys being best friends. What did you reveal to me that you guys are doing tomorrow? So by this time people are hearing it, you guys will be inked up. So tell everybody.
Yeah, so at the
Yes.
time of this recording, tomorrow we're getting best friend tattoos. Do you want to describe them, Justine?
Yes. I mean, these are nearly so we've been friends for nearly 25 years. We're like
No,
little
25 years.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
we met in like the
We
year 2000.
in the year 2000. But yeah, so we're 25 years young. And we are getting just like something that just like brings us just like I feel like it when you see it, you're just gonna be like, of course they did. We're getting Ghostface and Freddy Krueger talking on the phone to each other tattoos where like the cord connects like on our arms. So they're gonna yeah, it'll just forever have a little cord that connects and I can't wait. I'm a little like, oh my God. I haven't Josh is the one that's been getting inked up head to toe lately, but it has been years, decade since I have been under the pen. So I am a little anxious but a lot excited, of course, because I'm getting ghost faced on me.
And not only am I getting Freddy, Justine's going to do the ghost face holding the phone. I'm doing Freddy holding the phone. But if you've seen Nightmare on Elm Street, my Freddy on my tattoo is going to have the tongue phone.
Oh my God. Oh my
Yeah.
God. Wow. Perfect. I didn't know
We've
that
thought
before.
this out.
Yeah,
That is
and we
awesome.
even like we were like, wait, so like he's on the phone to himself. Like we've really thought this out, and there is no rhyme or reason because Freddie has no rhyme or reason. So he is
Yeah.
on the phone, maybe to
No.
himself, maybe to Ghostface, maybe to the like. Who cares? But
Yeah.
the
I get it. It's Freddy that sends the tongue to Nancy, but I just want the tongue
but
phone and Freddy holding it,
yeah,
and
we
that
don't
being
give
the
a
phone that
damn.
connects our cord. So
No, we're gonna honey badger this and we don't give a fuck. Like this is how it is. And if you like it, you like it. If you don't, I don't care. Shut your mouth.
Well, so, and by the time that this comes out, will people be able to see this on social media?
yes, it'll be
Absolutely.
posted ASAP on our Instagram.
Yes. As long as we're not in tears crying because it turned out poorly, which I seriously doubt. The tattoo artist is incredible. But yeah, we'll be posting that sucker for not just the content, for the memories.
Yeah. Well, so speaking of memories, this is going to be something that we remember forever after this, after March, because we are getting Scream 7 starring Nev Campbell, Sidney Prescott, and we finally have our first glimpse. We've been anticipating this moment for 2 years, maybe 3 years, maybe even, I don't know, 15 years to see her back as the main character. So, yeah, crazy. So, and you two are some of the biggest Nev fans that I know. So I'm just like, since the trailer's come out, I've been dying to talk to you guys about the trailer and about seeing Sydney again and seeing her in this way and seeing her showcased in this way because the trailer especially showcases her. So who wants to kick it off? Who wants to start off this momentous occasion? Josh is like, give it to me. So
He's
all right.
I have 16 note cards. Please, dear God, can I start?
All
No,
right.
mainly the only reason I want to start it is because the day the trailer dropped, we were at work. Justine and I work together. I'm a pre-K teacher, and Justine's my principal, believe it or not. And I saw that the trailer dropped. We have like classroom phones, so I can call the office. And I called her and I was like, the trailer dropped. Get to my classroom now. And luckily, I have 2 assistants and they had just taken my kids out for recess.
Oh my God.
So
Yes.
Justine
He
comes
was
into
on
my
a quick
classroom.
break. He
Yeah,
was
I was
on a
on like,
break.
yeah. Well, no, they go outside and I set up my classroom for the next activity. So I was in that phase and I saw that dropped. I was like, oh my, holy shit.
Yeah.
So I called Justine. I was like, get down to my classroom. And I have like a big screen that has like a projector to a computer. And I was like, we're watching this on the big screen. And so we cued it and we were just geeking out the whole time. Justine was
God.
literally squealing at points that I had to be like, stop it. I want to hear. What are they saying?
You guys are like the
I-
coolest people. Like, how is that even like real life? Not only are you guys BFFs, that you guys work together. You guys have been friends for, almost 3 decades now. You guys are getting friendship tattoos of Wes Craven characters, and you guys got to watch Scream 7 on a projected screen together in the moment that what is this? This isn't real life. This is like, maybe you guys aren't real people. Maybe you guys are like
It was
hired
literally,
actors.
best case scenario for
Yeah, it
watching a
truly
newly
was.
dropped trailer.
That's so cool. I just think that's so fun that you guys got to experience it in that
And
way.
then I think I text you right after too. Like, oh my God, it looks so good.
And so like there's been a lag between the release of the trailer and this conversation because I was on vacation and then you guys were on vacation, so we've been ships in the night. So
Mhm.
but so okay, that was so cool. I love this like little movie I just got to watch of Josh and Justine seeing the trailer for the first time. So what did we think of the trailer? Tell me everything. Let's start with Justine.
I mean, as Josh mentioned, I was squealing, and I certainly was. Like, it felt like home in a way that was like, it wasn't just like serving me beat by beat, like what I like needed to eat, like a regurgitated bird kind of like thing. It was like I'm taking you back, not like through a nostalgic field or anything, but just like there's just this like feeling underneath it of like it's very different, and then there's just those like classic tones. The opening with the house, with Stu's house, and the end of it with Stu's house. I love how like the trailer itself is very much like full circle that we see, and I'm hoping it alludes to full circle, like cathartic for Sydney as well. But the Psycho Killer Airbnb, like just as podcasters, as people who road trip to do this very thing and have and will again, I felt like I mean, I didn't feel I hope I don't feel what happens to the both of them within context of the movie, but just this like relatability to like I do that. I go to movie locations where, films have been made about psycho killers. So, and I get that like in this, it's more of like, well, no, that was actually supposed to be like where people died, but I just found a lot of relatability to like, yeah, I do that. Like I go places just to like see where things have happened. That's the whole point of our road trip podcast. And I love that. I felt very connected. And then having been to Stu's house and walked in it myself and been to that film location, it again was just like, oh, yay. That's what I mean by like, it felt like home within the first like few seconds, those glimmers. And then I got in the roller coaster and it was a wild fucking ride.
What I really loved about the trailer is that it really felt like Scream.
Yeah.
You could tell like Wes's influence really touched it. And I think that's a lot because of Kevin and then Nev being an EP or a producer. And I like 5 and 6. I'm not a 5 or 6 hater, and I know you're not either. They do rank lower in my ranking, but 5 especially, there were things I really loved about 5. But this one, something about it just really, just through the trailer, felt like a Scream movie.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I really enjoyed. It's going down to even the whole concept of burning it all down. Like
Yeah.
we're burning the last few movies down. We're taking it back to where it all started, and we're burning that down. It's not dependent on the Woodsboro nostalgia. They're going to go there. I'm guessing that's the opening, but yeah, there's something about that. And Justine knows that. fire in movies is like my favorite thing. The imagery of it always looks so good. I know it brings so much like production value and made this movie look rich.
I didn't know that about you, but like, so it's kind of interesting because they are really leaning into the fire of it all in the marketing. I mean, that's the poster. I assume it's going to continue with the poster. I imagine like when we get the individual like character posters, they're all going to feature the fire. I imagine like the main cast poster is going to be like orange and like have those colors and the Mocker house burning. It seems like that is the main strategy of this movie. Like,
I thought that first teaser poster was beautiful. Like,
Yeah.
I loved it. But I would love to see a cast poster, like a throwback to 1 through 4.
Yeah. So
But
I have a question. Okay. So the original cast posters featured 5 actors. Okay. So if we had to pick who those 5 people would be, who would be the 2 people on either side of Sydney? Let's go with Justine first, then Josh.
I would probably go with Gail, and then we would put daughter.
Okay. And what about the other side?
Joel McHale. No, maybe the twins. Maybe do the twins on the other side. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a, certainly bringing up 5, 6 within the poster, but then also the legacy with Courtney having Gail there, and then maybe this new generation with the daughter. Kind of that's all encompassing. That's my opinion.
Josh, who would you pick for the 4 people around Sydney?
I'm kind of with Justina. Gail for sure. Then it's either going to be the daughter and the twins, or it could be Joel McHale. But do you remember back with like Scream 2 era, there was like multiple 5-point people. Like there was one with like Jada, then there was one with like Derek, and then Derek went missing, and maybe they even did that with 3. But yeah, I wonder if I hope they do like the old school.
It would be really
faces.
nice. Because even if it was an alternative poster, even if they go with the big superhero one with the whole cast on it, like I would still think it would be nice to have an alternate poster. But anyways, okay.
I agree.
I digress. I would probably say if I was picking, I know the inclination to pick both of the twins, but like just to kind of balance the new story with, I would probably go like Sydney, Gail, Tatum, Chad. I don't know, husband or Anna Camp. I don't know. Whatever. Not my decision to make.
And what I loved about the trailer, like another point is there's so many characters they left out. There's no
Yes.
Anna Camp in the trailer. There's no, who's the guy from like Can't Hardly Wait and
Ethan Embry.
Ethan Embry. No Ethan Embry. There's none of the like supposed cameos of like Matthew Lillard. Like I love that because my first reaction, even after me and Justine watched it, was like, holy shit, they just showed so much. But then when you think about it, I'm like, oh, they actually didn't. They just showed clips from really like 2 scenes.
Yeah.
And then like a fast montage.
Yeah.
And it's been that fast montage when I go back to watch like trailer reactions that I kind of don't pay attention to because I don't want that to spoil.
Yeah.
But they really did a good job of not showing us as much as they could.
I think keeping all the other characters out of it was the smartest thing they could have done, both from like a point of protecting the spoilers, but also as a way to reintroduce Sydney and like Tatum and really showcase what the story is underneath all of the mystery and the murder mystery and the ghost face and like the suspects and the killings. This is about Sydney and Tatum, her daughter. We have a name confirmation. So let us hear what we have to say about Neve Campbell and everything that we get to see of Sydney Prescott. Oh my gosh. Justine, what are your thoughts on everything Sydney?
Oh my goodness. Okay. Like we get this call to Sid, and she takes it like she does every time, which is, a little of like, yeah, you think you know a guy. Yeah, like you aren't about to like step on me. I am the surviving queen. But it's within it, and we get this like little sprinkle of like her daughter and the town, and then the caller mentioning like, I'm glad you found this like town that's a lot similar to where we grew up. And that's our first hint of like where we grew up. Like, okay, so we're not dealing with fandom. We're not dealing with a copycat or anything. We're dealing with somebody who's like, we came from the same place. So I'm wondering, does that mean like we come from like similar upbringings? We come like not just like geolocation, but like what's the connection between because it's got to be more than just hometown. In that scene, we get just like a little nugget of like what's really in store. That this is in a lot of ways going to take it back to Woodsboro, in more than just like the presence of the house,
Yeah.
that iconic house.
Josh, what about you? What do you think of the way that Sydney was reintroduced here?
I loved how seems like she's going to be this mama bear. I loved when Tatum comes in and says like, I want to be a fighter just like you. And there's also that moment at the very beginning of the trailer when the killer calls her and she's just like, yeah, okay, you're another asshole with a voice changer. That feels like so Sydney to me. It really reminds me of Scream 2 when she's like, Corey Gillis, 555, or
Yes.
whatever. It gives me that same energy. Like, I hear now that Kevin is now referenced as one of the top writers of the movie, and I can really feel that even just in the trailer, because I feel like Sydney's never felt more like Sydney than she does in this one since, and I love 4, but I would say 1 through 3,
Yeah.
and then 4, I love Sydney, but something about her dialogue in this trailer, I'm like, oh, this is Sydney Prescott's back.
It's really intense. And like, I just like, do you guys feel like we're getting a really original Scream movie? I know like we see the Mocker House and they're in the Mocker House, but like everything else besides that, it just feels like, oh, they're telling a brand new story here. Like the
Yeah.
set
Yes.
pieces, the action, the vibe, it feels like its own individual movie. It doesn't feel like an homage. And I think it will serve Scream 7 so well if that is the case. Justine, what are your thoughts?
Absolutely. I think it's not like I was saying earlier, it's not like about like giving this like fan service to us. Like I feel like they're saying, and even in like what the killer reveals of like we come from like this, like the same place that we grew up, that like I'm about to deliver something that is almost like deja vu. Like you are going to be unsettled by how you can kind of have like um oh, what? Like a memory, but it's not like that's what I feel when I'm watching it. That's how I feel about the trailer is it's like I know I haven't seen this before, but it's uncanny how it makes me feel. It's like it's calling back to those same kind of feelings that I love about a horror movie, that are missing in a lot of these continued slasher type movies. It's watching the trailer was like watching um a master do his work. It's almost like, to borrow from like a Sondheim, it's like watching him finish the hat. He is very much he's like very good at what he does, if only we would just like give him, the time to like tell his story. So what Josh was saying, like that writing, I really did feel in the trailer like, yes, there's some other people that could have credit in this screenplay, certainly, but like you feel Kevin, you hear it in Sydney. There's something about how much I think Kevin is like Sydney.
Yeah.
And that the witticisms and stuff, I'm just like, oh man, this must be almost like him in a way, like how he would if he could be Sydney, like that he wrote like I don't know, that could be completely false or I could be off, but there's just something so lovely about hearing Sydney when I'm pretty sure it's Kevin's words.
And am I correct in saying that I've read recently that Kevin's actually getting top billing on the writing?
He is. I
So that
checked that
means
before we
so that
recorded.
means by like guild rules that he wrote most of what is on screen.
Right. So
Which is very exciting.
like the way that I understand it is like Guy Busick wrote the first draft and Kevin was able to take that and just he rewrote most of it. And that explains not only his writing credit but also the top billing. And I think that's so cool. And I think that's what Scream fans really want to hear. I think that's what the three of us want is Kevin
Yes.
writing. So
That's what I thought too when he came back as director. I was like, well, surely he's also the writer, right?
Yeah.
Like
imagine Kevin Williamson, the writer of the 90s, directing a Scream movie that he didn't write. Like that was never
Exactly.
going to happen.
Yeah. I'm right there with you.
Well, so we see the trailer is about Sydney, of course, but it's about Sydney and introducing her daughter and introducing this dynamic between them. And we get some really intense emotional moments, both of action, but also just of them communicating and kind of like Sydney teaching her as a final girl. There's so much we get of them in the trailer. It just like, it's wild to me how much we get of Sydney and Tatum. So I'd love to hear some thoughts here about what we see, whether it's the sneakiness in the wall, of them escaping through the panic room or whatever, however it plays out in that set piece, or the big thing at the end, which is my personal favorite part of the trailer, where they're on the phone and Sydney's telling her where to shoot. Like that's so, emotional.
Mhm.
Josh, what are your big impressions here about Sydney and Tatum and this relationship and how it's defined?
Maybe this is the true passing of the torch. I love Sam. I love Melissa Barrera. But maybe this is going to be the next true passing of the torch to like a new someone who could be like Nev will always be the emotional core of the Scream movies, but maybe this is the passing of that torch to who's going to carry that legacy on. And it's so thrilling like that. It just everything about it, I'm like, this really feels like Sydney again.
Yeah.
Especially with the like shoot him in the head, at the end. I'm like, that invokes like Scream 3. I really want to know how this panic room works though. Like they go into like a sealed panic room, then here's another thing I'll say that I really love and kind of touches my Wes Craven heart is the climbing through the walls. I feel like is an homage to People Under the Stairs.
Ooh.
So much of People Under the Stairs are them like running through the walls like that.
Yeah.
And that was the second we watched Justine and I watched that trailer, I said that to her. I was like, that felt like People Under the Stairs, them like running through the walls. And
Hmm.
even in People Under the Stairs, there's the guy putting like the spikes through the wall trying to catch them. And so I feel like Kevin, out of anybody, and Radio Silence really did a good job of honoring Wes with like the For Wes banner, just all of, like the little touches. But there's no one that's going to do it better than Kevin.
Yeah.
Kevin knew the man, has a true respect for him. And so there's so many of like little moments like that with Sydney that I feel like not only is he honoring Sydney, but he's also honoring Wes at the same time.
Well, so I want to just I want to hear Justine's thoughts too, but I just want to respond to what you said about the passing of the torch. And so here's the thing, I am somebody who getting Sydney back front and center means so much to me. I can't express, I wouldn't have stuck through the last 2 years if it wasn't having Sydney back front and center as the main character. It's something that's so deeply important to me and something I think is so deeply important to Scream. So, I would love for her to be the main character as long as she can be, as long as Nev wants to be.
Yeah.
But there is something about, especially that scene at the end that we're talking about, where if there is a passing of the torch where Tatum is the lead in, say, Scream 8, I feel like in a way it's different than what happened with Sam, right? Because we're seeing it happen in real life, real time. We're seeing Tatum change before our eyes. We're seeing Sydney change before our eyes. There's something that Sydney has to let go of and let Tatum do on her own. And seeing Tatum kind of learn how to do this and take what Sydney's saying and apply it in real life. We're seeing it actually happen without it being forced down our throats in a way. So
Mhm.
it's very natural and it feels earned. It feels like it feels so satisfying. It feels like true character development in a really classy way. So even regardless, I think that Tatum is going to be a really well-developed, well-realized character that a lot of people can get on board with. And even people who say didn't like Sam for a myriad of reasons, whether it was like the moral grayness, whether it was the Billy daughter of it all, whatever it is, I think that there could be something in Tatum that, like what you're saying there, the passing of the torch makes more sense or for people. Josh, anything else before we go back up to Justine?
No, I agree. I will always want Sydney to be the
Yeah.
main focus. I'm such a Nev stan, but if there's anybody that I trust to move the franchise forward, it's going to be Kevin. And I think he'll always have a spot for Nev or be able to, if he continues on, know how to write that where it's always respectful and also gives her like some kick-ass scenes. I will say 5, I love the scene where Nev goes back into the house, fights Ghostface, falls over the banner. I love that she passes the gun to Gale. I always want Nev to be the focus. I always want Sydney to be the focus. But as long as she's still kind of a part of the story and not just written off like, oh, she and her family went into hiding, you know?
And whenever it's her daughter, like, doesn't it make also just so much more? It doesn't it make complete sense to have it be Sydney? Like, let's just say, we're getting, we're kind of going down the rabbit hole here, but like, let's just say Tatum is the lead of Scream 8. Doesn't it make sense that like it's Sydney's daughter who would inherit the storyline? And by having it be the daughter, Sydney will always be involved, no matter what. She'll always be a really important figure and be able to be intertwined in the story in a really natural way, where it's not what you just described of like, oh, they're safe, I don't know.
Yeah.
So anyways, Justine, what are your thoughts here?
Well,
So many.
yeah, I think I think I'm gonna bring up a couple of mentionables within those scenes, Sydney and Tatum, which are like that they're good like set pieces. Like we're gonna have like a panic room and we're going to have this like technology be used in ways that initially like panic rooms seemed so like very like, oh my gosh, that's like what like government people have to use when they've got to like hide out or something. For Sydney, this is like we have this in our home. Of course we do. Just a level of security because she is a mother now. So Sydney just having this like opportunity to kind of showcase like I mama bear up in ways that is enviable for Laurie Strode. Have a panic room. I've taught my daughter how to like use a gun. We have multiple. I love in the trailer the scene with the cameras. It's a utilization of the cameras that I think is just what you would use them for. Like, it's not, we caught this like floating entity on the camera or whatever. It's like, yeah, I'm watching on my app. It seems just exactly how you would imagine in a moment of urgency and emergency that's how it would go down.
Yeah.
So I just love the practicality within the technology.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me happy that we're not going to, in a decade or so, look back and say like, wait, what? We're putting up like cameras up in the ranch house, like in the farmhouse, so that Gail can put her mask on. Like, there's just sometimes where the technology is used in ways that ages it.
Right.
And I can just kind of immediately see within the trailer that I'm not going to be disappointed in how it's utilized and how she, again, mama bears up within the technology. Those scenes, because it's also, we're getting like chase scenes, but
Mm-hmm.
with her daughter and
Yeah.
they're hunkered down in the panic room, but obviously it doesn't work. So now they're escaping in the walls, and that is
Mm-hmm.
like fucking frightening.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a very lovely homage to Wes in ways that only Kevin could write and want on screen.
Yeah.
Like just like a beautiful way of showing this nod to Wes that it evokes like exactly what Wes did on camera for others
Mm-hmm.
within the horror movie realm. How he even called back to himself dressing up like Freddy. It made me smile how that was very referential, but I'm really excited for all of the dynamic of the mother-daughter. Like, just, I can't really wait to see Nev Sydney be a mom
Mm-hmm.
because she lost her mom. And so it's like probably for her a very defining of being a mother and then to have to protect her child from what she also had to endure multiple times. I just think like we're about to see a Sydney like no other. And I'm so happy that it's Kevin that's writing it and then putting it on the screen. I'm giddy with excitement on it.
Well, so what did you think of Isabel May? Did she make sense to you, Justine, as Sydney's daughter? Like, what are your thoughts there?
As far as I could see on screen, yes. And like the lines that we hear her say, absolutely. I think because I have seen Nev in person and interacted with her in person, that she probably has the ability to have anyone feeling like they can bring out their best performance with her. I just think that Neve is a very wonderful woman and she wants the best out of whoever is on screen with her. And to have a young talent and her knowing what it takes in the industry, I would, if I was her, holy hell, to have that kind of opportunity to be on screen with Neve and play her daughter, she's hit the jackpot.
Josh, what do you think about Isabel May and how she is featured in the trailer?
I think she's going to do a great job. I love the scenes that were shown. I like that it's implied that maybe she's going to get like a really good chase scene, especially with that interaction where they're looking through her app and she's trying to tell her where to shoot him. There was also leaked a few months ago that on the set shot of her running down the street into the coffee shop or something. So I'm all about a chase scene. Chase scenes are my favorite in a horror movie. So I'm glad I know there's at least one really good one. And that's something, especially with Scream 5, and you can't really blame them because it was filmed during COVID era. Everything was very contained on sound stages and in these houses. But now that they can branch out, I'm loving that we're getting a really good chase scene and probably more than just one chase scene.
No, I mean, I think that the trailer definitely shows a couple of things that have potential to be chase scenes, so it's very cool. So, as it pertains to Neve, were you guys surprised that this trailer showed just some of the most intense Sydney moments we've ever seen? I say this as a Scream 3 person, which is so emotionally intense for Sydney, but Sydney screaming at Ghostface, "Where is my daughter?" And seeing Sydney on the phone and she's crying and she's trying to tell Tatum how to do this. That is unlike anything we've ever seen from Sydney. And that to me, just as a Neve fan and as a Sydney fan, it is so exciting. So I'd love to hear what you guys have to think about that first time you saw the trailer. Were you just were you surprised by how much they showed of these really intense emotions, Josh?
Yeah, like I said, my first reaction was oh, they showed too much. But now I'm excited. I'm oh, they really didn't. So there's going to be even more. And then that shot, like you said, of the "Where's my daughter?" I can't wait to see that in context and to see where else that scene goes and how more Mama Bear she Mama Bears up, I can't wait. I'm so excited.
Justine, were you surprised by the intensity that we saw from Sydney in the trailer?
Surprised? No, I feel like maybe that was a little bit of service to us, you've been waiting for it, so here it is. But I also don't think that there was a lot of cards shown. Think she is going to have an incredible amount of screen time. So we fingers are crossed on that, but I do think they're saving the very best moments and she's gripping, she's compelling. Everything she says just gets you tore up to the floor up. Where's my daughter? Yeah, bitch, where is her daughter? I feel so sorry for you, Ghostface, because she is going to rip your intestines out. I'm just so I can't even contain how excited doesn't even begin to encapsulate the feeling that I have of wanting to see this movie, knowing to a certain extent I'm going to be fulfilled just because it's Neve Campbell playing Sydney Prescott. But then I don't really have too much of a worry about my expectations on the film itself because I do feel like it is in the most incredible, best hands it could be in with Kevin.
This was a really Sydney heavy trailer, Sydney and Tatum trailer. What did we think of the briefest moment we got to see Gail Weathers? She's the only character to really get to talk in the trailer, to speak in the trailer besides Sydney and Tatum and Ghostface, which I think is it's so appropriate. I just think that the balance that they struck with measuring out how much who should speak if besides the two leads and how much, I think it was perfect. It was just the perfect little dash of to remind us ooh, Gail's back and she's important. So Justine, what are your thoughts on Gail?
Yeah, it definitely was just a little sprinkle, just a little dab of Gail. But you know what? She shows up looking fucking fierce in that pantsuit because of course she does. And so I know that Kevin would never shortchange her either. I'm very just again excited. I'm just hella excited about these two incredible women and the gentle hands that they are in for this movie. And I think that when we see the movie, she is going to give us everything. And I don't even think she's going to do it because she feels like she has to. I think she's going to do it because she feels like she wants to.
Yeah, and that's very Gale Weathers, right? So, oh my gosh. Josh, what are your thoughts on the sprinkle of Gale Weathers? I like that.
Well, I love that the one shot that they show is her, in her most Gale, being like, let's unmask this fucker.
Yeah.
Like, that's so Gale Weathers. But I really hope they lean into the Scream 5 of it all, of Sydney and Gale really teaming up. Because that was something I really loved, was them finally reconciling all their differences. Gale has that moment in 5 where she's like, oh, this is all my fault, the book. And Sydney's like, no, it's not. It's Billy Loomis who started this all. And I really hope they lean into that because I love both those characters. Obviously, Sydney's my favorite, but I love Gale also. And I really loved that aspect in 5 of them teaming up, fighting off the killers. Even Sydney handing the gun to Gale and be like, no, it's your turn, girl. He just killed your best friend. So I hope we get more of that. Like, I really want to see that dynamic of Gale and Sydney at its full force in this next one.
Well, and I think that's what, deep down, I think that's what a lot of the original fans want. So, coming up is the final script that Joey Valisi is writing for the podcast. We're kind of creating, ending
Fun.
our trilogy. And one thing that as I've been reading it, the Gale and Sydney stuff is so strong, and that's what people really love. That's the biggest compliments I got about the first 2 scripts was their relationship and the way he wrote them and how fun it was for people to read, these made up stories about them and them interacting. And I think people just want to see them together. They are our queens. We love both of them, and just to see them and have them, I think that's what I hope that we get with Kevin and Scream 7. Guys, this was so fun. So any final thoughts on the trailer here?
I'm elated and I'm excited for all of us, the entire Scream community. And I'm really just looking forward to discussing it after and hearing what everyone has to say, and keep your negative thoughts to yourself.
Oh my gosh. And Josh, what are your final thoughts here on the trailer?
I'm just so excited by it all because, again, they really only show you 2 or 3 scenes, and then there's a little montage. I know there's so much they left out of this trailer, so many surprises to come, so many things that we're not even talking about now, that after the movie's released, we're gonna be like, oh, this scene, this scene, this scene. So I'm just really excited by all the possibilities, everything, the anticipation of it all. I can't wait. I think the trailer looked fantastic. I think it looked rich. I love, like I said, some fire that always adds so much production value. It just looks like a really good time. It looks like a Scream movie. You can really tell that Kevin's back, Nev's back, and yeah, I can't wait.
And again, they can find you guys at Scream Queens Podcast everywhere.
Yeah.
So, all right, well, guys, thank you so much.
Thank you,
You are
Ryan.
incredible, Ryan. I love your community, and thank you for always supporting all of us and our shared love of Scream.
Love you back. Happy holidays, everybody. So, hey, Ash.
Well, hello. Hi, everybody. Ryan didn't start his speech the same way. Normally it's like, oh, hello, everybody. And I sometimes will mimic it because it's fun. And I was like, oh, I got it wrong.
I'm keeping you on your toes. It's funny, the way people react to the introduction. Some people will say that they tune out. It's just it's very calming to them. So it's they go into a piece of serenity for 3 minutes, and then it's then they get into the topic. So but I've never noticed you mimicking me. That's funny. I'm going to be watching now.
I love it. In a good way. I'm always just hello, everybody. It's me, Ryan.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of on the Stab 3 set whenever Gale and Dewey see each other for the first time, and Jennifer is behind Gale, and Gale says Dewey, and Jennifer is mimicking the words with her. So when Gale says Dewey, Jennifer is lip syncing Dewey at the same time to be in concert with her. That's what this reminds me of.
That's one of my favorite parts. It's so good because I feel like if you were trying to play a person, you would do that, right? You would be trying to I'm weird and I love to I'm a people watcher. I love to examine what people do.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have terrible vision. So sometimes if I forgot my glasses, people would always laugh at me because I would still know who was walking towards me at any job. And they'd be like, how do you know? It's I can tell by the footsteps. I can tell by like just everything. Like I was like, I could tell because I can hear the coins jingling in their pocket. Like I was like, I can hear sneeze or whatever. And they're like, how do you notice that? I'm like, how do you not?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, so Ash, please tell everybody if they need stickers for the holiday or any fun Taylor, Scream, Veronica Mars, Buffy merch. Please tell everybody where they can find that stuff.
Yes, you can find me at Squirrel and Spud 9 on Etsy. But yeah, you can find me at Squirrel and Spud 9 on Instagram. There you'll find my store, and you'll also find the super fun Scream game of the week, where Ryan and I try to come up with something different every week to try to see what piques your interest and who you choose, or maybe see if you can figure out the weirdness of our brains.
Yeah. Well, so Ash, it's so funny to me how much you have impacted me over the past, over the past year, because we started doing this around the time of the Scream 3 anniversary, because that's where the Taylor Swift song started, around episode 200. It was like the Scream 3 anniversary for its 25 years. The past year has been crazy because I was recording an episode that's coming not this week, but the following week. So next Tuesday, there's going to be an episode about the Scream 1 finale. And I was talking about Sydney and how I have a whole new perspective on her in Scream 1 as like this kind of girlhood perspective, and like the breaking of an innocence when it comes to being a young girl before becoming a woman. I feel like that really came out in our discussions over the past year, talking about Sydney within the context of the Taylor Swift songs, but also just, like even like the closure episode when we really talked about her in each of the different movies. Like you've given me, because like I've focused on, like I'm so intrigued, obsessed with the Sydney in Scream 3, and you've really given me a perspective on her in Scream 1 that I didn't have before.
Oh, that makes me so happy. And honestly, same. Like Scream 3, I have like the biggest new appreciation for it. It was never like as high on my list, but now I'm like, oh, like without it, like it's, I mean, obviously, I love Scream 4. It's 1, 4, and then 2 and 3 are just tied. Like I can't between them. And then I'm sorry, everybody else, but 5 and 6 are just there.
Well, so everybody, Ashley and I are coming to you for a little holiday segment. So we are kind of straddling between the two holidays right now, at least in the United States. I'm sorry, I'm literally sitting here with a Canadian. I'm like, oh my god, our holiday is like Thanksgiving, like, right? But no, like so Thanksgiving just happened. Christmas is on the horizon, and this episode's kind of coming out in between the two. I really love this time of year. Like November is my favorite month. I just love the coziness of it all. I love that we're gearing up for the holidays, and like just the feeling outside. I like the weather. I just enjoy the scenery. There's just something cozy about this time of year. I'm just very, very happy, and I love the holidays itself. So literally for this recording, I'm wearing my Taylor Swift new Torture Poets Department holiday sweater, which is fun. So we are really ringing in the holiday spirit here.
Yes, and you never have to apologize because Canadians are used to
Obnoxious
also knowing
Americans.
American holidays, because that's just how it is. We get all the American TV, and so I mean, like I grew up watching all the shows where like I would be like, I'm so confused. Like, why are they like celebrating Thanksgiving and Christmas so close together? And then it taught me different times. You're not there for 2 months at your hometown. You're just there for a few weeks. I mean, I guess kind of. I mean, it's a long time, I guess a month. But yeah, no, I love this time of year too. It's super cozy and super fun. And November is one of my favorite months. I feel like so many of my favorite people are also born in November. So it's just a solid month.
Yeah. Well, and it's fun because it's like we get both of the seasons. We get like the end of fall and the beginning of winter. So it's just like a nice intermixing of like, of like the best time of year, in my opinion. Like I know people love summer and enjoy being outdoors, but I enjoy being outdoors like in this time. I think it's so pretty with like the leaves falling off, and like some trees are kind of more barren, some are still holding onto the leaves, whatever, it doesn't matter. But also this time of year is the time that I most associate with Scream, at least the original trilogy, because 1 and 2 came out around the holidays, and then Scream 3 came out in February. So this is like, and the first time I saw Scream was around Christmas. Like it was like, I saw 1 1 and 2 before Christmas, and then 3 the day after Christmas, like back whenever I was in 6th grade. So this is, even though like Scream isn't a Christmas movie in any sense, I think a lot of Scream fans would agree that there is a holiday vibe, a holiday nostalgia about them. Like I've watched Scream so much with like in the surrounding of like my mom's Christmas tree or my Christmas tree, or in just all the holiday decorations and the lights and the snow coming down outside. So it's just, such a important time for me, a time that I am my happiest as like just like as a person who just enjoys being out in nature, but also as a Scream fan and as somebody who just loves art.
Totally. I mean, I've never really connected them with that time of year. I think they've more been like summery movies for me, but I think that's just because that's when like all my friends we'd have time and we'd get together and have sleepovers and watch all the scary movies and stuff like that. But I want it to be a holiday movie in my life. I feel like
Yeah.
we all have those movies that aren't necessarily holiday themed movies, but there's a family tradition of watching them at that time of year. Like the movie You've Got Mail is a Thanksgiving, but American Thanksgiving movie. Like we will watch it around this time of year every year. My whole family, like like my sister's dog is named after the dog in that movie. So we always like think about that. And then also Taylor is a very Christmas, November, fall for me. Between it's like September to like the end of December is my favorite time of year. Love when it's cooler. I mean, I live in a place where it can get to like minus 40 Celsius and I still prefer it over summer.
Right.
So
And that we are gonna go there, people. So we're talking about Scream, but we're also transitioning to the Taylor song. And so Taylor's albums have mostly come out in like so many of them came out in just the month of October. And there is like we talked about this when we talked about Red at the beginning of fall. There is this fall aspect to being Taylor Swift or being a Swiftie. A lot of her albums have come out in the fall, specifically like Red and Evermore. Literally my two favorite albums. There is a fall coding to them that makes them so seasonal, and whenever you're like listening to the album, even if it's like in the dead heat of summer, you still feel like fall. I don't know.
yeah, and I always want to feel like fall. Like I want to always feel like pumpkin spice and acorns. And my favorite I also love this time of year because you can go anywhere and you can find squirrel ceramics everywhere you go.
Oh my gosh. Well, and it's so funny because in the Taylor Swift holiday merch drop, there was actually a pajama set with squirrels on it. So, I hope Santa brings that for Ashley this year.
It's been 13 years in the making. She wears those in the We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together music video. And I've wanted them since that moment. I remember being like, are those squirrels? And I know a lot of people have them and I always missed out. And so I sent the message to my sister immediately being like, can you please ask someone in our family to buy me these for the holidays?
Oh my gosh. Well, Ash, what is the Taylor Swift song of the day?
Song of the day / week is "'Tis the Damn Season." This song is on Evermore, which came out in 2020. It is track 4. It is written and produced by Taylor Swift and Aaron Dessner. And from my perspective, this song is about wanting to reconnect with an old flame or someone who it never worked out with, like maybe a friend who you always liked, and just like really longing for them, but also longing for the past. I feel like when we go back home, there's all these feelings of nostalgia and romanticizing things from the past, even when they don't deserve to be romanticized sometimes. And I feel like this song really encapsulates like that feeling you get during the holidays of like all those holidays past with different people in your life and remembering them for all the good things, I think.
Well, it's so interesting that you say that you frame it that way, because like we could even just talk about like who is the guy, because we don't know his name, right? We just know that Dorothea is the narrator of this song. I feel like this song is such a millennial experience. I feel like because like millennials, like I think that a part of the millennial experience is that like at least those of us who grew up in a small town, a suburban town, we kind of had to leave in some respects to go out to our careers, and there's an aspect of us coming home to our to that small town or to the place where we grew up for the holidays or for something else, and kind of getting to relive the past in the nostalgia way that it's being talked about here. And I say millennial just because like I feel like Taylor is channeling some vibes into this from her perspective, even though these characters, their age is never truly like defined. But it's a it's a classic song, and I think the reason why it's such it stood the test of time is there's almost like a Hallmark movie quality about it. Like, it's also the plot of every Hallmark movie. A woman who works in the city, she comes home to her hometown and she reconnects with an old flame, or she meets a new flame, like a lumberjack or something. And that's kind of like the vibe of the song in a way. I don't know, Ash, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I probably am the resident Hallmark expert
Yes.
in this group, or all of these people who listen to this podcast. I say I like Hallmark and horror, and my letterbox is literally just Hallmark movies, and I like to then comment on like really popular movies to piss off the movie bros, being like, this isn't as good as the Hallmark movie. Like talking about like Goodfellas or something, even though I don't agree. Like, I'm like, Goodfellas, yeah, obviously better than some of these Hallmarks. The thing about Hallmark movies is that anybody can put it on. Anybody can understand an idea of what's happening. You can watch it with pretty much anybody, and you can have fun in some way. Maybe you're making fun of it. Maybe you're dealing with a breakup and the crappy person in it makes you like just like want to scream at the TV. Or maybe it makes like I really like them because there's just something so simple about somebody who is not happy finding happiness somewhere else. And sure, maybe they have like a similar plot for a lot of them. I will say that they have mystery ones where some of those kills in those mystery movies where they like literally kill like 4 people a movie have crazy, crazy kills, and they're crazier than some of the horror movies that have come out in the last few years. I will say that. But there's something just so like a gingerbread cookie with when it comes to Hallmark movies, and I feel like that's what this is. It's like this song is just like eating your favorite cookie by the fireplace with somebody that you like, who you want to be spending time with, and maybe you're doing an activity that you like playing a board game, or you're just knitting or watching Scream. And that's what this song makes me feel. Is it just gives me that ache for the past, but
Yeah.
also like the like hope for the future at the same time. And I don't know how she's able to do both in a song. And it's just so, and like I'm saying, if this song would have come out before I met like my fiance, and I was still like obsessed with somebody that didn't like me, and he was like my friend who would like, both of us were never in town at the same time, I would have lost my shit.
Also, how I interpret like the relationship here is that like I think that the guy likes Dorothea. I think that he really likes her and that he would be with her if she would move back. At least that's how I've always interpreted it. And Dorothea likes him and has a strong connection with him and a strong bond with him, a strong friendship, a strong understanding. I get the sense that like, that no one understands Dorothea like the way that this guy does, like, and vice versa. Yet she wants to pursue this career more like in the media. She wants to be an actress. That's kind of like the premise, right? And that because of that, that's why she only comes back on holidays. But there's still this unfulfilled aspect to their relationship because she does like him a lot and she really enjoys being with him. And even though she's just going to be there for the weekend and she's going to spend the time that she wants to with him, there's a line in here that's so devastating. And she says, blah, 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 blah. So this is the bridge. We're just going to go right there with the bridge. She says, I'll go back to LA and the so-called friends who will write books about me if I ever made it and wonder about the only soul who can tell which smiles I'm faking, and the heart I know I'm breaking is my own, and to leave the warmest bed I've ever known. My God, there's so much to unpack there. Like, I completely skipped over the chorus, but like, in terms of just kind of defining this relationship, Ash, what do you think? Do you agree? Do you have a different take on their relationship?
Yeah, like I've never like really thought about it too much of like I know like you're correct in like the thought of like she's this actress and she's singing about that. I guess I've never like really connected to like what she's talked about it being about, and more like my own story. And like I've imagined like these two people who both really like each other, and like they understand each other so much, but the time has never been right.
Yeah,
Like they
right.
both want to like go explore their dreams, but those don't match up. And I just like I feel like obviously like the lines about LA and like the so-called friends, like those could also just be metaphors for like everybody, like the people in your life who do whatever if you don't take it so literally, even though I think it's intended to be. But I've always thought of them as being two people who really like each other, but they can't make it work for some reason. And for me, the line that just like pulls at my heartstrings is there's an ache in you put there by the ache in me. And just like it like hurts my soul. Like I'm just like, that is like, I feel like you can interpret that in so many different ways of being like somebody is just so unable to love that like they've put like an ache in somebody else's heart because they know that they should be together, or they know that there's like a reason why this could be. And then also like I've always thought of like the warmest bed. I've thought of that in two different ways of like her talking about her childhood bed. Like that's like the warmest bed she's ever known because she's talking about
Yes.
being at her parents' house, but also like how that warmest bed like kind of changes as like you get older and like maybe you move on to like your first love or like your first apartment and whatever it is where you feel at home. And she's leaving that, whatever perspective she's seeing and whatever she's leaving her home, no matter who that's with, to be in LA to search for something that isn't gonna like fulfill her and like, and that's the what I will just say about the Hallmark movies. One of my biggest pet peeves is when somebody's like, it's always about these successful women that go to the city or go somewhere and they just like give up their whole careers. I'm like, no, first of all, they never say that she doesn't go back. Just because she fell in love in the one city, I'm sorry, you're the one being messed up by saying she never goes back. Also, like, if somebody is not being fulfilled by their job, there is nothing wrong with them leaving it to go back home and to figure out what is best for them. Sometimes, as Taylor Swift says, sometimes quitting is the strongest thing you can ever do.
That premise, like, and I went, and this is the tie-in to Scream, is because, like, I have to say, like, this song I think is one of the greatest songs ever written about small town life in terms of describing what the vibe is like visually, emotionally, spiritually. Like, I connect to this song so much, and I grew up in a small town. Like, I grew up in a town probably of like maybe like 3,000 people, and that's where my mom lives, and so I get to visit it often. I'm there, probably every single week. It's a very cutesy town, and it reminds me a lot of the small town we're going to see in Scream 7, where Sidney Prescott is raising her family. And it's of Pine Grove, Indiana. That's where Scream 7 is taking place. And so there's something. I feel like I lived this world that Taylor created in this song my whole life, and I understand it. I understand when she says, "I parked my car by the Methodist in the school that used to be ours." Like that, I can literally picture this church that is close to the place I went to junior high school, and like just like the way that the street looks whenever the trees are bare in November after they've fallen off in autumn, and like how there's a crisp air, and like how some houses are decorated for the holidays. Like that is this song to me. And I just think that like it's such, again, like the way that she paints small town life and all of these like different emotions. But also here's the thing, as I go to tie it to Sidney Prescott in Scream 7, which we haven't seen yet, we are just projecting. We've seen 2 minutes and 27 seconds of it, but in the trailer, I mean, not that Ashley and I got some secret screening, right? Like one scene or something. Ashley would be like, spoilers. So, but like, we see this small town of Pine Grove really well defined in the trailer. We see, Sydney's coffee shop, and we see the town square at nighttime. We see, the girls walking to school. We see Sydney's neighborhood. We see Sydney's house. It's very small town. And I just think that like, if like some annoying person on TikTok would say that about her, Sydney Prescott, she used to work for women's crisis counseling, and she used to live in the suburbs of LA, and she wrote this big book, and she's a famous author, and now she lives in a small town. That's so regressive. How dare you call Sydney Prescott, who's probably arguably one of the most feminist people who ever fictionally exist, but also Sydney Prescott in Scream 7, from what we know from the trailer, she owns a coffee shop, How cool is that? Sydney Prescott is the bad bitch who, brought this really cool, chic coffee shop to a small town. I think that's fucking awesome. So women and anybody can have careers anywhere. They can restart, whether it's in a big city or a small town. So, long way of proving your point about the Hallmark movies.
Yeah, I love picturing Sydney doing what she loves in a place where she feels safe and feels like it's the right place for her. And I don't think she had the best experience in LA. So I get why she wanted to leave.
Just saying, yeah.
she's probably like, oh, like maybe we'll go somewhere else and figure that out. And also, like, I just want, like, sometimes it also really bugs me when people say that, like, oh, well, she moved for love. Like, I've never heard anybody be like, he moved for love. What a, like, an idiot. Like, I don't hear like that same thing being thrust upon guys. So I'm like, if a woman is truly in love with somebody and the thing that's going to make her the happiest is to be with the person she loves, go for it. That shouldn't be like it shouldn't be the only thing that she has put in front of her is to be a wife and potentially a mother if she feels like society's pushing that on her. But if that's what she wants, like, she should have what she wants. She should get what she wants.
Exactly.
And I think one of the things about this song is that, like, she's just saying, like, it's going to be like everything's so messy, but like we can just sit together for a little while and it can just be nice. And that's what I get from Scream and Hallmark movies and the silliness of all those things is just like sometimes when the world is crazy or life is crappy, sitting down and watching something or listening to something that makes you happy, it's just like the best thing you can do. Like, you can turn off social media, you can forget about all the bad because we're lucky enough to forget about the bad in the moment and just take it in and just be happy for a second. Because for all the people who aren't, like, at least we have the privilege of feeling that way. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I don't know. I feel like Sydney's like, you know what? I'm not like being chased by a murderer right now. So I'm going to serve coffee and like run my business and have fun, live in my life, and then kick some ass when I need to.
I can see why Sydney would want to raise her kids in a small town. Like, I think that, like, given, and I'm not telling everybody what to do with their lives. If you have a family, you know, if you have 1, 2, 3, whatever kids with somebody, I think raising them in a small town is such a valuable thing. I mean, the space that you have in a small town, the coziness you have in a small town, the tight knitness. I mean, there's a lot of horrible things about living in a small town. And I'm saying this as, like, you know, a gay person who was kind of made fun of in a small town growing up, but that still doesn't take away from all of the wonderful things and memories and experiences I had in a small town. And I think that, like, this song really captures that that well. And I'm so excited to see how Pine Grove is described in Scream 7. Like, even though, and it's gonna be different than Woodsboro, because Woodsboro, there's a difference between like a California small town versus like a more, Indiana is kind of the Midwest, but like more northeastern small town, like the one that I've kind of experienced. I think that there's just going to be something really, really cool about it and nostalgic and warm and very distinctive. It's going to be almost like Haddonfield and Halloween, but different. It's going to have its own identity. So I'm thrilled to see it. But let's talk about the chorus here, because this is like, "'Tis the Damn Season" is one of my favorite songs. When I say one of my favorite songs, literally top 5. I think it's one of the most beautiful songs ever. I listen to it all the time. So we can call it even. You can call me babe for the weekend. 'Tis the damn season. Write this down. I'm staying at my parents' house, and the road not taken looks real good now, and it always leads back to you in my hometown. And, you know, there was a point, I mean, this line that sticks out to me is and the road not taken looks real good now. And part of like when I became such a huge stan for this song was like a moment where I felt like one road I was on for a long time was coming to an end. And I was looking back at my decisions, and I was like, wow, the road not taken looks really good right now. And unfortunately, I was able to go back on that road and figure out a way to have that different opportunity that I didn't take before that I could take now. And it's just, since I had that experience, it's been really wonderful. And I just think that there's something so powerful in that idea, in the road not taken looks real good now. I think we've all had those experiences where we've made a decision and we've thought about it, and, you know, could have been so much different, so much better. So Ash, what are your thoughts about the chorus or anything?
I love this chorus so much. As I say every time I talk about Taylor's, I love it so much. This song, it feels like it's so funny because it feels like a holiday song when it is the holidays, but it doesn't necessarily feel that way throughout the whole year, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like you could listen to this at a different time of year and it doesn't feel like you're listening to Michael Bublé and Mariah Carey's classic Christmas songs, right? And there's something, like, I grew up in a decently big city, but I lived kind of in more of like a suburb type area. And like when I hear this song, I can literally picture so many of the similar things that you did just in my community versus like the whole city. Like, I just imagine like my friends driving around in high school and waiting for the boy that I liked to come home and then like being like dreading when he was going to leave and like go back and I was going to go. It's almost like you get to snap your fingers and life pauses for a second and you get to like all the things that are on like waiting for you at a different place and at work or college or whatever it is, or that guy who isn't calling you back that you're just like, I'm home now. It's almost like what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, but what happens at home during Christmas stays at home. And I mean, that's not me saying people should cheat on people.
If
but
it's
I'm just
okay
saying,
with you, it's okay with me.
yeah, it's okay with you. It's okay with me. It's just like pausing for a second and like really reflecting on the things that you really, really want. And this song just makes me feel like cozy and happy. It is one song that I didn't get to see on the Eras tour that was on the original set list and then got taken off, or it got replaced by No Body, No Crime for a while. At first, I was so excited that I got No Body, No Crime. And now I'm like, oh my God, like I can't believe I missed 'Tis the Damn Season because it's just, I love it more and more and more. But it's another song where I'm like, I know if you aren't a Tay fan, I feel like you could put this on your Christmas list of like if you celebrate Christmas, you could put it on your playlist and have fun, or even just like that if you have like a winter playlist if Christmas isn't what you celebrate, or maybe you don't celebrate anything and it could be on like a comfy, cozy holiday time playlist without it being like screaming Christmas down your throat, which I can imagine would be so obnoxious if it's not something that is like part of your life. But this song isn't that. It's something entirely different. And I feel like there's a connection from this song to also the song Ruin the Friendship of just being like, I feel like this song is what she wanted to do and Ruin the Friendship is what happened. And that makes me sad.
You know who this could have been about in the world of Scream? This is so silly. And like, this is no disrespect to Mr. Joel McHale, Mr. Mark Evans, but this could have even been like a Sydney and Kincaid thing. If, I know like you're not like the biggest fan, but like, because like, it seems like they definitely had a connection. They were definitely like, at least on a friendship level, they were bonded after Scream 3. And even though she didn't end up with him, they could have had like a version of this where neither of them really could be same time, same place, but they really enjoyed each other and felt understood by each other. So yeah, but
I got scared and I thought you were going to say Dewey. I was like,
no,
what? I was like, Sydney and Dewey? I was like, that would be really, really weird.
that would be weird. I don't get those people.
But no,
so.
like until I met you, I never once thought of like Mark Kincaid and Sydney as a romantic thing. Like it never even crossed my mind. So like I think part of it is just like when like you have like your own headcanon of like what makes sense. And I'm like, I understand other people's perspectives and now I see what they're seeing. But in my mind, I'm like, I can't flip that switch yet. Like maybe something will happen. Like, maybe one day I will. But maybe it's also just like the Patrick Dempsey factor of it all. Like I'm such a Grey's Anatomy fan that like, and like I've loved, but I mean, I like Patrick for a long time. Like I was obsessed with the movie Can't Buy Me Love, like before the nose job. So, but yeah, I just feel like there's like this possibility like where Sid always had these possibilities of like these like men in her life and it just I mean a lot of them turned out to be just like pieces of shit, but but maybe this song is like Sam walking across the street and being like, hey Danny, like yeah, like let's do it. I'm
Oh
gonna
my
crawl
gosh.
across my ladder or the ladder to get to you, my dream.
For the weekend. 'Tis the damn season. So, well, everybody, thank you so much for listening to this portion of the episode and celebrating the holidays with us. So, if you aren't a member of the Patreon, we are going to be having a holiday party at some point in December. So, if you would like to come, and I'll probably record it and release it at some point. You can come talk about the Scream 7 trailer, any thoughts about the first 6 movies, and if you want to talk about the life of the showgirl, that's great. If you want to talk about Wicked Part 2, if you want to talk about literally anything, we're going to come have a good time and celebrate just the community of people all over the United States, all over North America, all over the world, celebrating, that we are all kind of friends, because of this thing that we love. So 'tis the damn season.
I'm so grateful that I met you and through that I met everybody else because I've made some really lovely friends and have really fun conversations with people with different perspectives. And I've been introduced to new movies and TV shows and people. And I'm just giving you all a big hug through the phone speaker, whatever you're listening through, I guess, your headphones. And I hope that the new year is good for everybody.
Ashley's literally, we're having a for good moment because I knew you. Because I knew
Because
you.
I knew you. See,
Well-
I know it. And people are like, you don't like Wicked. I was like, I didn't like the movie. I know the musical. I've seen it.
I think you'll like for good more. I'm just having that prediction.
I have to finish the first one first.
Yeah.
I'll try again. You know what I think it was, Ryan?
Yeah. What?
I think it was
My hype?
seeing the goat. What's his name? Dr.
Delamon. Yeah.
Seeing him so realistic.
Yeah.
I can't handle him being mistreated.
Very Elphaba of you.
Like, I'm just like, I'll watch a horror movie and anything can happen and it doesn't really bug me. But I was like, oh, this fictional CGI goat?
Too far.
If anybody is mean to him, I'm going to cry. I think that might have actually been what made me have a hard time with it.
Okay. Well, and everybody, I just want to say thank you for the amazing November that we had. The podcast, I think November of 2025 was one of the best months for the podcast ever. Maybe the best month, the single best month ever in history. Between the Scream 7 trailer, Ashley and I did these episodes that I was really passionate about. Like the main topics are like Ryan C. Shower's Catnip. You know, we did like Scream 3 and 4 underrated sequels. I did the Nev Campbell as how she became the leader of the Scream franchise, and the Gale Weathers debrief is what I called it. But we tied those into 3 of the best songs on Taylor Swift's new album, Life of a Showgirl. We did Fate of Ophelia, Father Figure, and Elizabeth Taylor. And I think those episodes are just so special. I'm especially proud of them. And I'm excited to go into December now because we have some fun things coming up. We have this episode, which is we're talking more about the trailer from other people in the Patreon, but also we're talking about the Scream 1 finale. You're going to hear my audio commentary of Scream 1996 for Patreon subscribers, which is the first. I'm excited to do. It's like we've been building up to this moment since last April with all the audio commentaries. So here we are. And also we have Joey Valisi's final script for the podcast. So the final Scream, December 19th. Be there, be square. It's really amazing and also just like such a unique, rare thing. All right. Well, Ash, again, where can they find you online?
You can find me at Squirrel and Spud 9 on Instagram. Come check out my Instagram and say hi.
All copyrighted material used or referenced in this show belong to their rightful owners and made possible by the Fair Use Act.
And number 3, never, ever, ever, under any circumstances say, I'll be right back. Because you won't be back.
Get another beer, you want one?
Yeah, sure.
I'll be right back!